So, Brad, one of the things that's been really kind of popular with some of our new Apex line this year is what we call mix sets. And we've got triple play, we've got player, we've got combo, we've got, I'm missing one, sweet spot. I don't think I said sweet spot. Our belief is a vast majority of players should be playing the standard set. Obviously, all that engineering, all that R&D goes into designing the perfect set. But there are some people on kind of, I would say, the fringes of the bell curve when you do a fitting that, yeah, maybe they do need some more playable short irons, or maybe go the other way. They need some just for, forgiving long irons. We've seen some success, again, little nichey for sure, but something we believe in, and we've got tremendous feedback from consumers and fitters alike. Tell me a little about what you guys do with those type of things, whether it's a Callaway product or just combo mixed sets in general.
Sure. I mean, I think obviously it's player dependent, of course. At Club Champion, we use a 6-iron. So the reason why we use a 6-iron, and I tell this to everybody, well, we're not going to use a 9-iron, right? We want enough, loft to give it lift, and we want enough loft to show curve, right? So I don't think we're hooking a pitching wedge that much. So that's the first thing. The other thing is at Club Champion, we don't use fitting heads. We do use your guys' retail heads. So we can adjust those. Loft, lie, just knock it out of the park as far as that. So yes, while it does say 6 on the bottom of it, we can also infer a lot of things by going too weak or too strong on a lot of these sets and so forth. Based on the player strength, of course, I think the breaking point, for me personally, I see a lot of guys, and this is aesthetics too, is between that 7 and 8 iron. The 8 iron is one that I know you guys give to a lot of your tour pros, and you got to nail it. That's a weird transition in an iron set.
And it's been that way since forging's back 40 years ago.
Yep. It's a huge transition part in the set. So for me, we're going to utilize the 6-iron, and we're going to look through the right window, right? We're going to find that. We can tweak that golf club. We have 50,000 combinations, but we don't have everything, right? And once we nail what that 6-iron is, and we know that spec, that's where a company like Callaway has great charts for us, for our fitters, to understand loft progressions based on that, right? I use this all the time, partially because a fitter here in Willowbrook has a Honda car, and he always tricks it out and does some cool stuff to it, so I always make fun of him. But you guys are great at what you do. You know exactly what this club's going to do. You know exactly if the loft of this 6-iron is this, then if we break the set here and there, where to go. Those charts have been super valuable for fitters. We don't really audible off those too much. There are exceptions to the rules. Maybe you have a super slow club head speed, right? Maybe you want gappings a little different, things like that. But for the most part, that's pretty gospel for us. We love those charts, and I think that's a great resource, not only for us as fitters, but the consumers to understand that too as well. And you guys aren't the only ones to do it, but yours is very well put together.
One of the things that I appreciate all that. One of the great things I've found with fitting the combo sets is really tying that pre-fit interview to the data, right? And you get a guy's like, I really struggle with long irons, and maybe they're, in our case they're hitting a 7-iron, in your case they're hitting a 6. You're like, this guy's striping it pretty good.
Right.
What's going on in those long irons, right? Is it a loft issue? Is it a confidence issue? Maybe he doesn't have the confidence. And again, I think that's when you can look at the data, which is always the most important. That's going to drive it, and then mix in that pre-fit interview. What can I pull out of that player? To understand, he would never think about maybe working a 4 or 5 iron, but man, for whatever reason, he thinks he wants to hit a bunch of knockdown 9 irons, right? Yeah. Let's give him a club that can do that if he thinks he's capable of doing that, right? So again, this is a great time where you're mixing the anecdotal, what the player thinks, what you or your staff or some of our great Callaway certified master fitters are seeing, and then looking at the data, right, and combining those together to get that person dialed in.
Well, I think in the fitting, I think I always tell every person I fit, you kind of have a veto card.
Oh yeah.
And I know he's not on your staff, but Jordan Spieth would be one of those guys, who doesn't play the pitching wedge that matches his set. So, that's his veto card. That's what he prefers. He can hit the shots he hits, right? So, in the end, you like to play the game a certain way. You like to see a certain shot shape. I think, to tie in a bunch of things, number one is storytelling. It's understanding the technology and how to implement. Not everybody speaks the same language, kind of. Two is, you can't take for granted everybody wants to hit a draw with their irons. I'm a player that I want to see the ball fall 2 yards to the right. So if I see the ball, that's what I want to see. But if you're a fitter and you are, trying to get the guy to draw it, could be totally different.
It's a long day if that guy doesn't want to see that shot.
Well, you kind of fighting for like you maybe not on the same page. So that's where the pre-fit, definitely comes down. Every time somebody books an appointment here at Club Champion, whether they book directly with a fitter, they walk into a store, or they book over the phone with our customer experience, even online, they get a pre-fit questionnaire we ask them to fill out. And that type of stuff is great for them. Sometimes the player doesn't write too much. Sometimes they write paragraphs. And anything going into the fit as a fitter and you come prepared, that's wonderful information to have. But to go back to the combo set in whether it's 2 or 3, what have you, to have a nice robust line like that, is great. I mean, if we just stay in the Apex realm, I mean, there's a lot we can do there. Yeah. There's certainly a lot we can do with each player and help them utilize that in the bay.
Yeah, and this goes back to, we just want people to be happy, right?
Yep.
You want consumers walk up here happy. We want to be excited to get Callaway products and to know that they're getting the right ones, right? That's what it's all about. And whether it's a full set of all Apex, Apex 21s, or whether it's a mixed set, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. What matters is that they can play whatever their version of the best golf is. For you, that means shooting a 68 or 69. For me, it's a 75 or 76. I'm thrilled, right? That's a great day. But ultimately our clubs and the golf ball is going to get us there.
Yep.